Hey guys! So last night I was just laying in bed, I couldn't go to sleep, and I was just thinking about all these random stuff, like how I can't believe Jonah will be turning 2 years old already in 4 months, and I'll be giving birth to the second child in about 5.5 months. And then I also realized that I never shared my delivery story with you guys because I was just going through such a hard time, and I didn't really open up to anyone except my husband. But now that's the past and I'm all okay now, so I decided to share my story with you guys today. I want to start off with my contractions. It was September 25th, 2012. I remember I was cooking dinner. I was cooking bulgogi or miyeokguk or something for Aiden. He just got back from work. It was 5 p.m. and suddenly I felt a contraction, and I thought it was the normal random contractions that I've been getting lately, so I just ignored it. But then an hour later, it was continuous. I got it every 30 minutes, and then it went out to every 20 minutes, and then 10 minutes. And then finally at 5-minute interval, I was like, no, we need to go. I think I'm gonna give birth anytime soon now. So we packed all our stuff and rushed to the hospital. I think the hospital was only 6 minutes away from my house. So as soon as we got to the hospital, the nurse checked and she was like, yep, you're dilating, so we will admit you to the hospital. So I remember I changed into my hospital gown and I was laying in bed. I was really happy because I was excited to see Yunwoo, but also very scared and nervous at the same time because, I've never been through this. I was scared of the pain that I'll be going through, and I always watch these pregnancy delivery scenes on the movies. So yeah, I was really nervous, but good thing Aiden was there with me the whole time. I tried my best not to get any pain medication, so I waited 5-6 hours until I was about 5 centimeters dilated, and I couldn't take it anymore because it hurted so much. So I asked for the epidural. I remember the anesthesiologist came in to give me the epidural. He gave it to me in my spine. The first time he gave it to me, it was weird. I got numb only on the right side of my body, and the left side I was still able to feel my contraction pain and everything. So he had to give me another dose of the epidural, but this time he overdosed, so I was numb from head to toe. I couldn't feel anything, and normally you're supposed to only be numb from your belly down, but even my face, I couldn't feel it. I could remember he put ice on my face and asked if I felt anything, and I was just nodding no because I couldn't feel anything. And he suggested that I go to sleep for a little bit and I'll be okay when I wake up. I don't remember saying this to Aiden. He told me later, but he said I held onto his hand and I told him I can't fall asleep no matter what. I have a feeling that if I do, I'm never going to wake up. So yeah, I remember I just stayed up and waited until the numbness went down, and eventually it went down from my belly down. The next couple of hours I was feeling great. It was 1 a.m. when my doctor came in and he checked. I was about 8 to 9 centimeters dilated, so I was really close to the time when I can start pushing. But then all of a sudden he looked at Yunwoo's heart rate and said that he was having a hard time breathing and his oxygen level was really low. So he told me I had to do an emergency C-section. So at the time I just froze and I was crying so much. I don't know why, but I was crying because it wasn't part of my birth plan. I wanted to give natural birth. I never even thought about having to do a C-section. I had a good cry for about 1 to 2 minutes. And then I just realized, things can't always go as planned, and I have to do whatever's best for my baby, which was to have this surgery done. So I agreed, and right then, I remember they dragged my hospital bed to the surgery room, and I remember staring at the lights on the ceiling as I was getting dragged into the operation room. That have planned C-sections, they don't have to go through all that, contractions and stuff, because they just set a date, just go in, they fall asleep and do their surgery. But I never knew this was going to happen to me, so I went through all that pain. So I was already on so much pain and numb medications. They weren't allowed to give me any more, so I wasn't able to sleep during the whole operation. Normally you're supposed to be sleeping. So yeah, I was awake the whole time during the surgery. I couldn't feel anything though. I just remember I was holding on to Aiden's hand. He was sitting right beside me and he watched everything. He watched them cut my belly open. The surgery took about 10 minutes. It was really quick. And I remember hearing the nurses say, wow, we have a redhead baby, because Yunwoo's hair was so red, especially on the first day. And I couldn't really see because I didn't have my glasses on and I didn't put in my contacts. So I asked Aiden beside me, I was like, who does he look like? Does he look like you or does he look like me? He was like, he looks like me. And he was a big baby. He was 9 pounds. One thing I was really sad about is, you know, I was laying in the operation room. They were stitching up my stomach, so I wasn't able to hold Yunwoo in my arms as soon as he came out, and that was my dream. You know, usually if you have the natural birth, as soon as the baby comes out, hand the baby to the mom to hold for a few minutes, but I couldn't do that. So I was really sad about that. I stayed at the hospital for 5 days. Normally it's 3 days, but since I had the surgery, I stayed for 5 days. And I was not able to get up. I wasn't able to move. So I was just laying in bed for the whole 4 days. But on the 5th day, my doctor wanted me to kind of walk around and, you know, get up. So I did that. And it was so painful. Every step that I made, it hurted so bad. When we got home after the 5th day, I had a lot of emotional times. I remember I was just laying in bed crying for some reason. I was just bawling, and I also felt so helpless because I wasn't able to move and do stuff that I needed to do. I couldn't help Aiden with anything. I couldn't really hold Yunwoo a lot. I was only able to hold him while I was sitting in bed. I wasn't able to stand up and hold him or rock him, which he really liked. So Aiden had to do that part for the whole months, and I felt really bad because, you know, we each got 1 to 2 hours of sleep every night for the whole first month, and also he goes to work at 7 a.m. But I'm really thankful for such a loving and supportive husband. My milk supply was also very low, so I wasn't able to feed as much as I wanted to. So yeah, all these little factors made me so sad. It just made me felt so helpless. You know, as time went by, everything did get better, and after a month, I was actually able to walk and move and do stuff, and that's when my keloid scar started showing up. And for those that don't know what keloid scars are, it's when your body heals after you have an operation. Too much tissue forms around that cut, so you get a chunk of tissue sticking out, and only some skin types get that, and I happen to be one of those. And right now my scar is about 6 inches wide. It's horizontal, and I have a thick tissue sticking out. It's like a brownish reddish color. And at first I was so sad because every time I look down, I have this big chunk just sticking out, and every time I wore a pants, it rubbed against it, so it felt really weird. Now, whenever I'm taking a shower and I look down, that scar, it reminds me of, you know, how strong I was that day and the miracle of giving birth to Yunwoo. All the experiences that I went through that time, giving birth to Yunwoo, that experience made me a stronger person, and that scar, it reminds me every day. Now I think it would be weird if I don't have the scar. So yeah, that's what happened, and I know that I'm going to go through that whole process again in 5.5 months. And I'm not as scared as I was during my first pregnancy, because now, you know, I experienced it, I know what I'm going to be going through. So, you know, the only thing I'm nervous about is having to take care of Yunwoo and the baby at the same time later. Since Aiden comes home from work around 3 p.m., I'm going to have to do that by myself from morning until afternoon. And now my mother-in-law is not even here because she moved to Korea. She was here when Yunwoo was born, so she helped out a lot and came over. My mom works all day, morning till night, so that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. But overall, I'm really excited, And like I've mentioned, we will find out the gender for this baby in 2 weeks. So I hope this video wasn't too boring and long, and this wasn't meant to scare any of you guys on giving birth. It's just my experience. You know, every delivery and pregnancy is different, and I just wanted to share my story. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later.